to live it, to experience yourself, experience putting yourself up to a challenge. And I don't mean living up to the challenges that others have put to you so that you can earn their love, but more to experiment and discover what it's like to co-create with the people around you, to discover what it's like to learn what it means to love. And then ultimately, when you start letting go of that inner critic, the voice that you learned from lessons of your past to protect you from more hurts, that says you're not up to it, or you need to do that to earn love, or whatever. It's holding you back from really shining your light, because as a child, maybe you had a moment where you did shine your light fully, freely, joyfully, joyously, unlimited, uninhibited. And then someone came in and boom, shut it down, either through a harsh word or a pop or ridicule or whatever. But that's called the heart mandala experience. And that's the moment where you're fully aware of your connection to everything that ever was, is, will be, the entire universe, that huge creation song of unconditional love. And you're a part of it. And you know that in a way that you're the center of it, but that you're not the center of it all, but you're the center of your experience, and with a tremendous sense of belonging, that you're just a small part in a greater whole. And so there's that fullness of knowing that you belong. And so when that outside influence comes in, that's actually very violent, even if it's not physically violent, it's emotionally violent, that shuts you down. It's and you get into that protective mode. And then from there, that's the birth of the inner critic, where you start to believe those lessons of I'm less than, I'm not enough, I can't, I should have, could have, would have, I need to, have to, and all of those things that create this worldview that are really too small for all of the light of unconditional love that you are. So what's the purpose of life? And let me speak into the purpose of life is to create. But that's looking at the whole greater whole. When you look at the individual human experience, the purpose of life, I feel, here on earth, is to learn to shine your light in a very dense environment. Because when you can do that, you could do that anywhere, in any realm, in any universe, in any dimension. Because planet Earth is a dense energy field with all of these conflicting things. But yeah, you learn to shine your light in that, and you can shine your light anywhere. When you look at the science of quantum mechanics, and I am a total armchair nerd, and I can't do the mathematics of it, but I just spent 5 hours listening to Brian Greene, who is a physicist, give a master class and on Einstein's relative theory. And for 5 hours, I listened to this guy, and I'm following the logic of it. I just can't do the mathematics of it. But when you listen to him talk about the things that they're discovering and how much there is yet to discover, and then you look at history and how much that we knew before, which is small in comparison, yet you could see that there's distinct building blocks that we've been building on throughout the ages. To me, it's fascinating, because it just gives you a very, very clear picture of the importance of not hanging on to what you think you know. And we, as humans, have a tendency to hang on to what we think we know, instead of being willing to let go of it and go back into that childlike curiosity of discovery. Because when you do that, what happens is that you can let go of old thoughts and ideas about who you are. And they are very limited. and then start to go into that discovery mode of discovering, well, who am I really? And that is ever evolving, ever ascending into deeper levels of unconditional love, should you choose to take that path. And that opens us up to this whole thing of free will, because there's two schools of thoughts on it, or two main schools of thought with a lot of different degrees in between. Some people believe that they have full free will and that they are sovereign. And there's a lot of talk on the internet now about sovereignty, especially in the face of some of the things that are going on with this pandemic. And there's people that are opposed to masks, people that are pro-masks, people that are opposed to vaccines, people that are pro-vaccines. And so, you know, we have a lot of us versus them mentality going on, which is a shame, because we're missing out on an opportunity to really use this to our distinct advantage. I personally feel like it's going to come and is moving for our highest good. It just is a very, very rocky road. And it's a rocky road that is rockier than it needs to be, because we're throwing rocks onto it with this us versus them thinking. But that's a little bit of a tangent. Let's look at the whole thing of free will. And so I was listening to Brian Greene give a talk, and he looks at the world through the eyes of a quantum physicist, and he's looking at this vast landscape of unknown, but this vast landscape of possibility, this vast landscape of what they're learning, this vast landscape of the limits of our perceptions of how does the universe and the world work that we're in. And he had a wonderful analogy. He said, if you really want to get to the truth, you have to do nesting stories. So there's the story of the quantum mechanics, the story of Newton physics, you know, where if you could see it, touch it, you could predict it. Quantum mechanics is, it's all realms of possibility. Then you add on neuroscience, and then you add on other difference of the sciences. You add on philosophy, you add on theosophy, you add on arts, and you add on all of these different aspects of the human experience and our human perceptions. And if you really want to get to a more complete picture, you have to nest all these stories together. And this is the other thing, that this us versus them thinking of hanging on to what we think we know, or hanging on to what we hope we know, really gets in our way, because we're losing sight of that paradigm, or that getting a more complete picture of what's going on by the nesting stories. But you see, as humans, when we get into that fear mode, which the pandemic definitely put us on a collective into a fear mode, you want to hang on to something that's like a lifeline. And then once it's in your hands, it's hard to let go. And we all know that by just even a thought pattern about ourselves, that we're not up to something, and it's really hard to let go. And those who are light workers, the deeper you go into the unconditional love of you, the more practice you get at letting go, and then the more flexible you are, and then it becomes more liquid. And in that liquid, or in that ability to move in realms of new thoughts, and I'm not new kinds of thoughts. Yeah, you open your mind and your heart up to deeper realms of unconditional love and the absolute power of it. So all of this is building bones. Building bones, well, maybe it's a skeleton, but building stones to this whole concept of free will. And so Brian Greene, when he's looking at this vast landscape, and just the cause and effect of everything, and seeing how it's so intricately interconnected, he says there's no way there's free will. There's no way, you know, that one person can have that big of an impact. And I was thinking about it, you know, and over the years in my spiritual reawakening, I've moved in and out of that as I've, tried on different ways and tried it out. And I see what he's saying, when you look at the whole grand cause and effect of things, yeah, I'm a drop in the ocean. You're a drop in the ocean. So that one drop doesn't affect everything, but you put enough drops together, it does create a force field of its own. But looking at the individual experience, it really comes down to free choice. You have the free choice, and you have the sovereign choice to choose how you're going to react to the outside cause and effect stimuluses that are going on around you. And so there's a few different nesting stories that we can look at this, or through a few different lenses through which we can view this dynamic of how do you create your life experience, because you do create your own life experience. You are the writer of your own story. So looking at it on one level, you can say, okay, I've got the free choice to change the way I react to stimuluses, because the way I react to stimuluses is based on past conditioning. So if I have learned to interpret a set of dynamics in a certain way, because it's a defense mechanism or it's an opening up mechanism, I have the choice at any point in time to stop and take it as a crossroads, take it as a choice point. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a look at it, feel into how I'm reacting to a situation, feel into how other people are behaving, let it go, let go what I think I know, look within to the infinite intelligence, omniscient wisdom, and omnipotent unconditional love of that creation spark of me. And let unconditional love in the form of illumination rise up and give me a new choice. Show me the way to a new choice. And then act on that. And then it becomes trial and error. I'm returning back to kind of the meaning of life, the trial and error of creating your experience. And so then you go, oh, that works. Okay, I can refine it for next time, or I'm going to use that as kind of a building block. And this is how you build this entire worldview that you're in. So that's one level that you can look at it at, on that individual choice point. But then, and so cause and effect, which is a principle in science, in philosophy, and also in the religions all throughout time. It's just a basic principle of cause and effect. I become the cause and effect in that choice point. So the effect is coming at me, or the cause is coming at me to create an effect on me. I get to choose my individual effect by doing a stop, look, let, love moment. Stop, look at it, let go of what I think I know, let myself look within, and let love rise up and flow. And so that I react from a different point of view, or from a different lens. And so my new reaction is a new cause, and I can take a look at the effect that's going on. What effect does that create? And you do it a couple of times, and then you can say, okay, there's a pattern there. Or maybe it's just once. Okay, it doesn't happen that way again. Okay, I need to do another choice point, a look, let, love moment. And through trial and error, you start to learn that, okay, this behavior creates or has a tendency to create this kind of result. Okay, so that's your individual cause and effect. Now you keep in mind that you're doing that within the collective whole of humankind. So we've got a lot of individual choice points. And some people are taking their choice points, other people are not, and they're just going on knee-jerk reactions. Okay, so we're all at different levels of our spiritual reawakening, if you will. Or we're all at, if you want to stay out of that word spiritual, we're all at different levels of self-awareness. And awareness of what self even is. And so we're co-creating within this whole conglomerate whole. And so if you were to kind of do a Google map on your life experience and step back a little bit, you can start to see this ebb and flow of how human consciousness is moving. And then you can start to co-create within that from a higher way of seeing, like a higher point of view. Let me just take a moment to speak into those who are are fighting so hard for their sovereignty. You don't have to fight for sovereignty. If you fight for sovereignty, then you're creating the perception of non-sovereignty so that you've got something to fight against. You know, you are sovereign. You do have free choice. Okay, just keep in mind that you're within this greater flow. So now you've got, like, within the pandemic, you've got these mandates coming down. Okay, if you react in fear, you're feeding that which you do not want when you react in fear. So it's, again, another choice point. Stop. Take a look at what you're doing. Take a look at the fear. Let it go. Look within. Let love flow. Transform that fear that you're carrying in yourself into illumination, divine light vibrations, infinite intelligence, omniscient wisdom, omnipotent unconditional love, equally everywhere present in all things, created all things, knows how to manage all things for the highest good of all. It is flowing through you. You're made of it. You know? And so you've got that free choice to let go of that fear and let it be transformed into the courage to love. And now let me just take a moment to speak into, there's a prevailing thought that the opposite of fear is love. And it isn't. The opposite of love is hate. The opposite of fear is courage. And so if you really want to work, and remember, everything in life is vibrational. And it's all a matter of degree. So you can't change an apple into a banana, but you can change an apple into applesauce. You know, or you can't change, hot can be changed into cold. It's a matter of degree, but you can't change hot into an apple. Okay, so things have to move along their own vibrational scale. So when you have that fear, you let love rise up and transform that fear that you're holding in your mind and your human emotions. And you ask for it to be transformed into the courage to love, or the courage to act differently, the courage to. And you take a look at, what new behavior do you want to try out? And then from a human point of view, it's really important to have a very specific action step that you can put to it so that you can put it into action and try it out and see what effects are created from it, so that you are sovereign in your own small part of the cause and effect of the greater whole of cause and effect. Okay, so those are a couple of different lenses that you can look at through this whole thing of free choice and sovereignty. And there's a lot more lenses that you can look through, but those are just a couple of different basic levels to start with. And it's very, very important that you put action to this every step of the way, because without action, you're just still in theoretical la-la land, you know. And I can tell you this, that you are here to live your life fully, freely, joyfully, joyously, unlimited, uninhibited, and to grow into it vibrationally, emotionally, and mentally. Grow into the ability to do that on ever deepening and ever larger scales. And it doesn't mean that you have to be one of, on the big playground. It could just be in your own little sphere, your own little world. Okay. It's the small acts of love that make a huge difference in the long run.